right, and we are live right now. All right, I'm gonna tweet this out and then we can get started.
Rolling. But yeah, man, I'm loving Returnal.
Oh yeah, I bet.
Yeah, man. What's so funny, Macho? I didn't make a joke.
No, I saw a joke on Twitter. It was a joke on Twitter.
Yeah, bet.
Yeah.
This man got jokes today.
I ain't got jokes. I say nothing, man. I say nothing. You won't get the jokes today. You Dave Chappelle today.
I'm Dave Chappelle, yeah? No, don't.
Oh,
That's
man.
a legend right there. I ain't no Dave Chappelle.
You're saying Walt's gonna get this work today?
Don't compare me to legends, man. Nah. That's too much pressure.
Yeah, it's okay, man. Gotta live up to something, right?
Yeah.
Why is this not okay? Hold on, I gotta download. Wait, is it here? Where's that image? I legit just has an image.
At this point, Xbox or PlayStation, just give me one. Just give me one. Just let me see one available. I don't care which one it is. Give
Listen,
me either
you
one.
got Sackboy. You good?
Yeah.
You got Sackboy.
Thank you.
That game's actually not that bad, man.
all.
Don't slander that, man.
Nah, I saw him recommending it to him. I said, you got Sackboy. You good?
I've never played a Sackboy. Are they good? The little blick panics and all that?
I mean, this one's different than the Media Molecule ones that came out, but this one's more just like straight up co-op Mario 3D World style platformer.
That might pick it up then.
Yeah, this thing has to be a hard time.
Oh man, what I'm excited about. We will talk about it. It's that Ratchet and Clank, boy. We'll talk about that later.
YouTube's really giving me a problem because the screenshot I took is more than 2 megabytes. Really?
The what?
So much power.
No, it's just I'm trying to put the thumbnail on the video and YouTube's like, it's bigger than 2 megabytes. What are you doing? I'm like, bro, it's 2 megabytes.
That's too much, bro. Stop.
Oh man, well,
I might have to resize it then, if that's the case.
let me see. Hold on. Yeah, possibly. Cause it's giving me a hard time.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Alright. No, you could do that. You could do it afterwards.
Yeah. That's fine. All right.
Maybe just backtrack a little bit so that we can hear everybody, and then I'll let you guys know we're good.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely gotta make sure.
We'll do it for the next few weeks, and then we'll be sure that we don't have to change anything. Then it'll be stress-free, and we can just start instantly without worrying about audio.
Hey, The Last Kingdom was back.
Oh! Let me check that.
No, not like season 5 is like dropped on Netflix, but they dropped a video on YouTube saying that they're back. So I'm guessing that they're filming.
That's something, man. Hey.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey. Dude, I'm excited for that show. Love that show.
Alright, we're Gucci.
All right. All right.
Hair's done, nails done, everything did. We're good.
All right, let's get started.
Boy.
Wait, is Walt good? What is he doing? I don't want him to come back onto the mic talking all crazy when we just started.
That wasn't me. That was Macho.
Oh, okay. All right, damn.
Wait, what?
Damn.
What happened?
Jerry.
No, that you were away from the mic, and I thought that was Walt away from the mic, and I was like, I said, all right, let's start, and then he was away from the mic, and I was like, I don't want him coming back onto the mic talking all crazy when we just begun the podcast. Like in the middle of my intro, he's talking all this shit.
Stop it. Get some help.
Damn, hate to see it.
All right. Let's get into this, man. Welcome back, guys, to the 10th episode of the DualShock Sense Podcast, man. This is a momentous occasion. I am your host, Soul, the connoisseur of anime waifus. With me, as always, we got, hey, Macho. I'm gonna give Walt some time to prepare his intro this time. So go ahead first and give your intro, man.
It's a king of Kingdom Hearts and the Final Fantasy fanatic coming at you guys. What's up for the DualShock Sense Podcast? It's your boy Hector here. Macho, rather. But yeah, I'm also going by the professional name of Hector for some videos on lordsofgaming.net. Go and check out some of my content over there. It's been a good week, man. It's been a good couple of weeks. I'm a satisfied PlayStation fan. Let's get it.
For sure. Well, you good, man? Do I need to stall a little bit more? What's going on, man?
Saludos, mis amigos. How we doing today, y'all? Walt Lando coming in here. Hot. Ratchet. Everything's going on. Everything. I'm hype. I'm reading. I'm finishing school. What's going on?
He's reading. Hey, he just started that. That's new. That's
just
new.
Just passed the reading comprehension test.
Yeah, that's new for him.
Yeah. Just it's all good in PlayStation Town. Got a lot of good news not for the first time, but for 2 weeks straight, we've been getting just nonstop home runs. Or some good batting rounds.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy how it was all doom and gloom just like maybe 2 weeks ago. Now everyone's loving PlayStation again, man.
Yeah, man. Crazy. We said it, like, as soon as they drop just one good news, they're immediately everyone's sweetheart. And I was just telling Macho, yo, Jim Ryan hurt you. He was like, well, gotta get up for this man. This man really throwing some shade over here.
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm saying Jim Ryan he was up at the bat, and then he let 2 strikes go by, and he realized he has to swing, and he finally did, and he got a home run. So look at him.
So we got a good show planned for you guys today. A lot to talk about regarding PlayStation, regarding just the world of PlayStation. Everything that's been going on lately. But first, we are going to talk about what games that we have been playing this past week. So for me, it's still the same as the last 2 weeks, just chipping away at Dark Souls 3. I think like 60 hours into it now, so I'm in there, man. And so from last week, I think I had just beat Pontiff Sullivan and the Old Demon King. So since then, man, I've beaten the Dancer of the Boreal Valley, who is like the coolest boss in that game, man. She is just the way that she moves, just like her sort of like lithe, weird, sort of silky smooth, just animations. Just the way that she goes about is like almost like she like a panther like stalking its prey. It's really, really weird, man. But it's so cool. And then of course she has that absolutely nuts, like I think it's like an 8-hit combo where she's just like twirling,
spinning.
Yeah, just over and over and over again. It's just like, dude, when is this going to end? So yeah, she so far she's been like my favorite boss fight, and I think she took me maybe like 4 or 5 tries to finally get down. But no, she was definitely a blast.
She's a lot like the butterfly, I think it is, from Sekiro.
Yeah, maybe.
True.
So True. yeah, got her, and then we did. Who's next after that? We did Osiris, the Consumed King, who part of my French to our listeners here, man. But he's a little fuck, man. He's a little squirrely fuck. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. He's just like even though he only took me 2 tries. He just has this one move where like you don't even have the like proper reaction time to react or like defend yourself from this attack. Like he'll be all the way across the battle arena from you, and just like a snap of a finger, he closes that gap and is at you with like this crazy dash attack. I'm not kidding. Like you just don't have any time to react to it. It's insane. Um, and then he also has this immediate like tail whip attack that it also comes in really quick. So like you need to be able to have your shield up at like being able to balance having your shield up just at the right times, knowing when that attack is coming, is kind of like the difference between life and death. So Osiris wasn't too bad, but man, that dash attack was just like, I don't know how From Software expected you to dodge that, because like I ate that attack every single time, man. So yeah, we got Osiris down, and then Dragon Slayer armor I defeated I think like 2 nights ago. He
Champion?
was no. I haven't got the champion yet.
Gotcha.
Dragon Slayer armor is the one on top of Lothric Castle, and then there's like the moonlight dragonflies flying in the background that are like attacking you at the same time. Yeah. So did him, and he actually got me like I think like 5 or 6 times. So he was a pretty fun boss fight. Yeah, so we got him, and now I'm pretty much nearing the end of the game. I just fought Lothric and Lorien last night, and
Ugh.
they
Hate that fight. Hate that fight.
he kicked my ass, man. I before bed I just wanted to like try it once to see like what we're dealing with. The first phase isn't too bad, but then once his brother gets on his back and it becomes like a 2v1 fight, then it's like okay, now it's getting kind of crazy, because like it's not even like his brother being there isn't even like that bad to handle, but like the Elder Prince himself, now his attacks start to get a little bit quicker in comparison to his first phase. So now it's like you have that on top of the younger prince to deal with, and now it's like it's an entirely different fight at that point. So yeah, I'm gonna be really excited to learn more about that fight and try to see if I can overcome that. But yeah, so oh yeah, and then the ancient wyvern I took out as well, but I don't need to talk about that because that's that's a one shot kill boss fight. So
Yeah.
I'm not even proud about that one, honestly. Um, and then so yeah. So nearing the end of the game, I only have champion Gundyr left, nameless king, and Soul of Cinder, and then of course the two princes. But yeah, I'm nearing the end. I want to get it done before I start Returnal, before I really delve and sink my teeth into Returnal, because otherwise I won't be able to get back into Dark Souls for like a month probably, and I don't want to lose, that touch, man. That's what happened with me and Neo. Like I don't know what game it was that came out, but something came out that made me stop playing Neo for like a month, and then I came back to Neo and I forgot how to play that game. So I don't
Yeah.
want that to happen with Dark Souls. So I'm definitely gonna try to crank that one out before I truly stick my teeth in the Returnal. But yeah, that's pretty much it for me. Dark Souls 3. And yeah, what about you guys? What's going on with you, Walt?
Honestly, man, I did the Resident Evil Castle demo last week. As soon as we finished the podcast, I went to check when it was going to be available, and I played that during the weekend. Had a blast. It was the castle portion. Honestly, I actually beat the demo this time, not the village one where I got myself halfway and I couldn't see the final scene. Um, Gotta say, dude, I am loving the difference in tone and theming that they're going for with the village and the castle itself. It very much feels like the Spencer Mansion. Obviously, more regal, more snobby, with a vampire lady stalking you through the hallways.
Yeah, what's
And
better
I
than
love it
that?
because
I love it.
Yeah.
and I love it because here's the thing: you play the demo, right? And maybe a little spoiler if you didn't play the demo, but whatever. There's going to be another chance for you to play it for whoever who hasn't played, for our listeners. Um, you're crawling, right? You're trying to crawl yourself through a little hole in the ground towards I think it's a kitchen, so to make yourself way towards the catacombs. And as you're going, you can see in the room as you get nearer and nearer, you see Lady Dimitris, and she's like looking at bottles of wine and whatnot. And the closer and closer you get, she starts getting out of the room. And as soon as she gets out, you try to open the door, you can't. It's like they're teasing you. It's like no, you're not gonna meet her now. You're gonna wait until the game comes out.
You can't get her autograph now. You can't.
You can't get her to chase you yet.
No paparazzi.
Yeah. Dude, it sucked because I beat the demo quick enough that I could play it again, and I tried to get there faster. I was like, "I'm gonna get you. You're gonna get me." But no avail.
You're gonna get me.
And you're like, hey. He was running away. He was running away. He was like, no, please don't catch me. Whatever am I gonna do?
I closed the door. No, what am I gonna do? I lay on the bed. Oh, help me! Oh, telenovela. But I love it. You start off, in the middle, right after a scene that you can see in the trailer where she's like, "Oh, so you're Ethan Winters? Whatever." That scene ends. You never see that scene. You just see yourself, in a room where she sleeps in. And
man, they showed you her bedroom. Man. Oh man,
bro, I think so.
Man, don't tell me about her drawers, man. Don't tell me about her drawers.
These people are.
I try to open everything.
Oh man,
found a green herb in there.
These people are horny, man. What the hell is going on, man?
Need to go horny jail, but no. Beautiful design, beautiful interior. The castle feels immense. Like. You see the castle from afar, you're like, oh, I bet there's going to be a lot of locked areas, because a lot of video games, they give you this sense of scale, and they just deceive you, and they're like, no, you're not actually going to explore the whole thing. No, there's like a lot of doors that you can't open, but there is a key for it, because they either have a little gap on the side that you can see inside from, or it tells you, oh, you don't have X or Y key. I met the Duke,
which is Resident Evil I like to hear about.
Oh, bro, I met the Duke, which is the vendor. Reminded me of the Resident Evil 4, what are you buying? Because he just appeared, like, anywhere.
Yeah.
But this time, it's just this massive dude. It's not that he's obese. It's that he's huge. He looks like a giant. And he's telling you, you can upgrade your weapons. You can buy ammunition. You can buy... what do you call it? Oh, you can sell treasure. You can find treasure around the house and sell it for, I forgot the name of the currency. Regardless, it's like a platinum. It looks like platinum. You get chased down by Lady Dimitris's daughters, I believe they are, the vampire ladies. You get chased by two of them, different times, and then they have this swarm of, I think they're wasps or just bugs, and they start coming out of your hand if they get near you and whatnot.
Yeah, I've seen people saying different things. Some people say bugs, other people are saying wasps, and then some are saying bats because like they're vampires or something like that.
It's disgusting regardless. It's a little creature. It gets under your skin literally, and you don't want to get near it. She's indestructible with the handgun. You can't really do damage. You can stall. You can shoot at her, and she'll like stagger for a moment, but then she'll keep following you. So it's all about running away and making sure you don't get killed. The demo ends with you getting caught by another sister. First one being Cassandra, the other one I forgot the name of. I don't think they mentioned it. You find these they're not catacombs. It's like a prison cell underneath the castle. They have like these failed, transformed women that they were to be vampires, I believe, but they just turn into feral beasts, like feral vampires, kind of like in Hellsing when Alucard he turns a person into a vampire, but they just become like a ghoul.
Interesting. That's just how I like them, man. That's interesting.
Yeah, it's fascinating, like how there's a process to them becoming vampires. It's not just, oh yeah, I bite you, you're one. No, it's like you either become one or you fail and you're down in the cell, ever to walk the hallways and in despair or whatever.
Yeah, I think they kind of like hinted at that in the Maiden demo, where you don't play as Ethan, but you play as like this, I believe not named, but basically a character that just doesn't speak, and you're just trying to escape the castle, and then you get caught by Lady Dimitrescu. And I guess the assumption is that she was captured to be another one of Demetress's like servants or something like that.
Correct, and you find a list, and you find different notes of people saying, I can't get away. I tried running away. I can't find my family or whatever. I'm making my way deeper into the castle. Yeah, downtown, right? And walking fast. So
okay, wrap it up, man. Wrap it up, man.
So like, bro. Oh, other than the demo, obviously, I had a blast with that. I played Mario Kart. I've been playing Mario Kart just to chill, just to relax a bit, because this was my finals week. I only have one test left. I'm almost done with that. I'll be able to play more games during the summer. But yeah. Just Resident Evil, man. I cannot wait for that game. I cannot. There's so much in it. There's so many characters. That's one thing. There's so many interesting characters. It's not a... And I didn't despise the game, but it's not a Resident Evil 6 game, 6 situation where you're introduced to such a wide cast of characters, but you care so little for like 70% of them. You only care for Chris, Birkin, Helena maybe, and Leon. And like Ada, but like the rest of them, the partners, like they're so forgettable, in my case at least. But in this, I'm excited, man. I'm excited to see what they do with the whole premise of vampires and lycans. Because honestly, I can think of a million things, but you see the trailers and you're like, what the hell is going on? There's like a factory. There's like a bunch of corpses being dragged. Are they trying to make an army? Are they trying to take over the world? I don't know, man. Is there a virus even? Is this just magic? Or is there an actual virus that they're using to turn you into vampires? Is this another bioweapon? You know what I mean? I'm excited. But yeah, that's what I've been doing.
Nice. Yeah, definitely. I'm definitely looking forward to Village as well. What's going on with you, Matcha? What have you been up to this week?
Yeah, so it's been out of state kind of week for me. I literally just ventured out into New York, out from my home state in Connecticut, just to visit family, visiting the baby nephew. And the thing is, like, I expected to not have a lot of gaming time, just because I'll be around family or so much, and you know how it is when you're around family. You don't really want to like kind of isolate yourself and be like that kind of person. Especially when you haven't seen your family in a while. But it's been really chill because where we're at, it's been raining a lot of times, and some people have like my family does other things that they do as well. So I've been hardcore gaming into Control. I ended up playing that game Saturday night and got through halfway, and then when we came back, I played for like another or we came to New York. I played for like another 5 or 6 hours straight.
Nice,
and then I finished it Monday morning. And yeah, man, I finished it, rolled credits on it, and uninstalled it.
Oh no.
It's dude, yeah, man. I see, the thing is, I like Control. The one thing that attached me to it the most, the reason why I kept playing for so long, was because of the gameplay. And I will say this: the DualSense features make the gameplay 100 times better.
Really?
It's just so much fun having like the haptic feedbacks when Jessie's walking around. You kind of feel like the footsteps in the controller, like every tap that she's making.
Oh, that's cool.
And yeah, and the adaptive triggers, Remedy did a really good job with making the adaptive triggers not be intrusive, and have every gun feel different when you're pulling the trigger. For instance, like when you're doing like the pistol, like it does like kind of like a hard lock that you have to press down a little harder to shoot off a bullet. But it's not like, again, it's not intrusive. It doesn't feel, I didn't feel like it was like in my way. But then there's also like another gun where you have to charge up the shot to get like a really powerful, kind of piercing shot.
I remember
and that one, yeah, you hold down the trigger and it actually, like, the trigger itself vibrates, so it kind of like shakes a little bit, so you kind of feel like the tension that it wants to pop off, but not just yet, because you got to keep charging it.
Yeah.
So like it was little stuff like that that made playing the game so much fun. But that story, I couldn't care any less about it. I could not care any less. I was intrigued by like the premise and the mystery of it all, but then like it kept going and it was being extra vague, and I was picking up 10,000 um, notes and catalogs, and Jessie's not that interesting herself, so like I just didn't care.
Yeah.
So I couldn't get myself to finish the side quests or the DLC because I just didn't care.
When Control Dream Drop Distance drops, you'll be able to understand it.
Oh man. Oh man. You saying if it's only Kingdom Hearts, you don't want it. If it's not Kingdom Hearts, you don't want it.
You know what? I'll let that slide because Dream Drop Distance is the one that goes crazy, and it's the one where I'm like, all right, you're getting pretty insane. But you know what? Yeah, but you know what I did? You know what I did? Well, a couple days ago, when I was playing Control, right? I was thinking to myself, this game's really complicated. So I figured that someone would bring this up in the podcast. So I actually made a list of games that are more complicated than Kingdom Hearts.
Oh man.
Oh, go for it.
Control. Death Stranding.
Okay.
The entire Metal Gear Solid series.
You can
Final Fantasy 14.
That one can be debated.
And that's all I got right now, because that's all I came to my mind first today.
Okay.
It's a solid list, though.
I mean, fair. Yeah, fair.
Yeah.
No, but Control's interesting because like I need to get back to that game. I'm literally one trophy away from platinuming that game.
Damn.
Yeah, I really enjoy my time with that game. How'd you feel about that? God, what's the name of that song? When Jessie gets the cassette player and she's in the God, what's that room called? It has a really cool name. I'm forgetting it. But yeah, the ashtray maze, that level. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's
that's like more than halfway through the game. I think that's in
that's like pretty much towards the end.
second to last.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like the second to last chapter or something like that. Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, that was awesome. Yeah.
Even when I died, I was just like, oh, the song's gonna play again. Okay, cool, let's do this.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, no, as far as like
even spoil. Like I haven't finished the game, but you mentioned that maze, and I'm like, you're talking nonsense. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's really cool. That's what makes Control like. That's why I enjoyed Control still, even if I wasn't really hot in the story or didn't really care about doing the side quest that much. It's just like the set pieces and the overall gameplay. Remedy just absolutely nailed, and it was just so much fun.
And just the atmosphere of the oldest house was like my sort of my standout thing about that game. Just like walking into a room and not only it being, distinct from what you saw in the previous room, but just like not knowing what you would find, right? Like I remember seeing the old Benikoff TV, and then stepping into that room and seeing people's bodies like levitating in the air and stepping through the glass, and then the whole room just starts to shift and it takes Jesse somewhere else. Or the fridge, I'll never forget that little side quest with the fridge, and that poor guy who had to sit by the fridge and he had to keep eyes on it, or else it would like the fridge would like spring to life and attack, and he's like in there like he's like pleading with you. He's like, please, can you please take over? I've been staring at this thing for like the last 72 hours or something like that. And Jesse's like, yeah, sure, just give me a minute. And then when you come back, all you see is like a blood stain on the floor, and then you go in there to investigate, and it's wild stuff. Or I don't know, man. Just God, there was that room sort of beneath the oldest house that was just like you had to take like an elevator to like the other side of it, or like a some kind of cart thing, and you go in there, and it's just like this large expansive place, but it's just like giant pillars, like all around you, and then the janitor Ati or whatever is just like on the other side like waiting for you, and you're seeing all these visions of like a river and like trees, and I don't know, man.
Yeah,
just like
that was really cool.
Yeah, that game is just filled like with these visual like sensory stuff that's just like insane, dude. I love that stuff. Just the overall aesthetic and the eeriness of it. Like I love the fact that you're just like the only person in there essentially, or like one of the only people in there, and it feels just so like large and expansive, and there's just like so many secrets to uncover. So like for me, like the oldest house itself was like, yeah, I agree about the story and Jessie herself, but like the oldest house was sort of like the star of the show for me with that game.
Oh, I agree. Yeah, for
Yeah,
me, it's the environments themselves, which like you hit the nail on the head there. That's why I love not like the Resident Evil series because you have stuff like the mansion, the police station, and all these other different environments. And now with Village is going to be like the castle stuff like that that has like
Yeah.
all these very personalized areas that definitely paid so much attention to and given so much
Yeah.
love and detail.
And you know
yeah,
there's about to be a lab. There's always a lab. So there's gonna be that underground, hyper techy. Who is experimenting here? Because I think every single game of Resident Evil has that one area that's like, it shouldn't even be there, but they make it work. Because Resident Evil 2 remake did, Resident Evil 3 did. Like every place has the origin of all of this, and I love it. It doesn't feel out of place. When you play Control, it's like you're playing Inception. You know, like you're in a dream and you keep going inside, and it keeps getting weirder. And I just hear this about a killer fridge. What is going on? I want to keep going. I gotta keep playing now.
yeah.
That's like, it sounds like a skit. I want to keep playing.
Yeah, no,
That.
it's good. Honestly, it's the environments and the gameplay that'll just keep you hooked onto it, which is why I ended up rolling credits on it, and playing
Nice,
for like
nice.
5 or 6 hours straight because it was just that much fun to play. But
God. And now
but yeah,
And now, like I'm just thinking about all the items that you had to go, in and sort of stabilize. And did you ever do the one with the flamingo, Macho?
no,
No,
no.
man, dude.
I mean, I just wrote credits on the story. Like if I, I didn't want to dive too deep into the game itself, just because there's other games that I wanted to actually dive into
That's
this
fair.
week that I have been playing.
That's fair.
So, but like I didn't see myself going 100% into it yet, but I did question. I was like, maybe I should just download it and just or re-download it and just keep it in there so that I can eventually go back to it and do the side quests and do like all that sort of stuff because it was fun to play.
Yeah,
Now that I finished the story, kind of like finished that mystery. It's like out of my head, and that I don't have that sense of urgency to
yeah.
play the story, stuff like that.
That's fair. I mean, I guess like I have the platinum, my like chase for the platinum to thank for that. Otherwise, I don't think I would have. But like, yeah, like a lot of those trophies are like urging you to explore and kind of dig deeper into like the secrets that are more hidden in the sort of recesses of the oldest house. And so yeah, it like getting to sort of fall into this spiral of these items that are scattered around the place that need, I think they're called like quote unquote containing or something like that. It's just like there's one that's like a Japanese lantern that like you start to get near, and it's like you approach it and it starts like vibrating and whatnot. And then there's another one with the flamingo that you get closer to it, and then all of a sudden it like not necessarily like runs away from you, but it just like the room all of a sudden like Mario 64 style, like how the Bowser portrait just like suddenly got further away from you, like the hallway just like got longer and longer. Like you step into that hallway with the flamingo, and then all of a sudden that happens, and then you're like running towards it, and then it just like warps you in this weird like almost like alternate purple dimension where like the whole room is just like I don't know, man. That game is so cool, man. Like, yeah,
Well, I'll definitely re-download it and do like the side quest then down the line because from what you convinced me to like check them
yeah.
out, that there are at least more intriguing stuff beyond
It's
the
the best part.
story.
It's the best part of the game. Those secrets, just stumbling
Really?
upon, yeah,
Okay.
just stumbling upon those things is it's the best part.
Okay.
But
Well,
is that
speaking of qualities, wait,
yeah?
go for it.
Go ahead. I was gonna say, was that it for you?
No, yeah. Well, speaking of quality side quests, I've been playing Gravity Rush 2,
Oh,
and I am definitely going to finish this game. I'm still deciding whether to go for the platinum, but like, it's so much fun exploring. The side quests are actually really good. and the story itself is awesome too. I wish that service, like it's like online leaderboard service, was up because I think you get like
Yeah.
costumes from Dusty tokens or something like that,
Yeah.
and you can't do it now.
I
So
I don't know if the Nier Automata one was exclusive to that or not. I think you might be able to download that from PSN. Not too sure
yeah,
though.
that one's free. It's
Okay,
the
gotcha.
it's the it's like I think it's like the MMO one that's like a freebie, and then the Nier Automata.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I've been playing Gravity Rush 2 and been really enjoying this game. Um, just like even just having like a podcast in the background, exploring around. It's
Yeah.
like they nail traversal and just going to that next gem and this again. It's side quests. I can't talk enough how good they are because they're actually quality and they're actually really fun. They flesh out characters and backgrounds in the world. I'm in love with this game. It's so good.
Dope.
Um, and
Um,
then Ni no Kuni, Wrath of the White Witch remastered. Which I've been going back and forth between that one since my fiance is playing at the same time. So we're kind of just like trading off ideas and different strategies and how to do certain quests, stuff like that. So been doing that with her, and it's been a lot of fun. It's a great game. If you haven't played Ni no Kuni, Wrath of the White Witch, check it out. It's definitely a great JRPG, modern classic.
nice, nice. And then for really quickly for Gravity Rush, uh, don't like once you roll credits, like that's not the end of the game. Like, because I this was a thing that you could tell with some reviewers when they finished Gravity Rush, like they
What do you mean
didn't.
with Raven's side quests
No,
or
no,
like the?
there's a secret
Okay.
ending, or
Oh, okay.
not even like a secret ending, but like a secret, like a whole other, basically like a whole other act, a secret act, basically. Um, you gotta find that. That's basically like the true ending of the game. Because I can't imagine anyone playing Gravity Rush 2 without that ending or without those extra chapters and not feeling satisfied with the game. Like I guess rewording this, that like I would understand if you don't feel satisfied with Gravity Rush 2 narratively if you didn't find those secret chapters, cuz those add that's like my favorite part of the game. So definitely just remember that once you roll credits on the game, like that's you're not done, you know. So
Oh,
definitely
that's
I'm
go out
awesome.
and
curious.
yeah, go out and look for that. Um so
Ditto,
yeah.
ditto. I definitely will because yeah, it's I plan to really dive into this game. I didn't really expect that. I was like, maybe I'll just play the story just because I did play the first one and just go from there. But I'm getting hooked into it, and I wish that Gravity Rush Remastered was on sale
Really?
for
How
the
much is it?
Golden Week sale. It's like $30.
Really?
So it's yeah, so
What?
it's not much, but it's still like it's $30. It's $30 too much for me because I have it on
Yeah.
Vita, so I could just boot it up on Vita anyway.
Yeah.
But it's not on sale on Golden Week, which is kind of weird.
Yeah, that is weird. Um
But no, it's really good. I'm enjoying it. I just got the lunar power,
yes,
so
that's my favorite one, man. I don't
yeah.
know.
So
I don't know if you
I'm gonna see what
immediately
it's at.
unlock the rocket jump ability, but God, that is
It's
so
in that same level, yeah.
okay. It's so fun to pull those off, man. I love doing that. Um, all right, man. So that's the games that we've been playing this week. Let's get into the podcast proper, man, because we got a lot to talk about. Um, First off, let's talk about so Sony had a sort of a conference in China detailing the launch of the console over there, which sold out. I think they said in like 20 minutes or something like that. They sold five. I think it was either like 50,000 or 500,000 units. I I'm gonna go with 50,000. That sounds more right. Um, yeah, and they detailed sort of the PS Plus collection. They had Genshin and Lost Souls side headlining the games that were coming out there. Um, so yeah, speaking of Lost Souls side, what did you guys? First of all, did you guys see the 17-minute gameplay demo for the game?
Oh hell yeah,
Yeah.
hell yeah.
What did you guys think about it?
I it was kind of nostalgic in some way because the game was announced like in what, 2016?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so like it was giving me that Final Fantasy 15 vibe, like it was trying to be not a rip off of 15, but just like in its own style of 15, but
Yeah.
a little more action paced, and that was something that I was looking forward to immensely because I was just in that zone for like that
Well,
high fantasy
that
action
was the
packed game.
thing. That was the thing with it, right? That it was basically a one man team that he was inspired by 15 and decided to do like his own take on it or something like that.
Yeah, yeah, and you really see it in this gameplay where I said it in a tweet when I first saw it. I was just like, "Oh my gosh, it's like Nier Automata, Final Fantasy, Devil May Cry, and a little bit of Kingdom Hearts had a baby, and this is what it is."
Yeah, yeah.
And as far as gameplay, and it looks phenomenal. The only complaint that I had about it was when the guy was slashing his sword, it sounded like he was punching. I was just like, "That's not the
He
right sound
sounded, he
effect."
sounded, he sounded like he was slapping fish, man. That was crazy, man. I was like, what the hell going on here, man? What's going on? Like this ain't right, man.
Yeah, one of my friends was like, "Yeah, man, it has to be a late 2021, early 2022 game." And I was like, "I don't know, man. That slapping sound that might be a little bit more than that."
Yeah, that was definitely crazy, man. Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree, man. The combat looked nuts. Yeah, it looked just that same anime nonsense of like DMC, man, that I love. Is just like 100% here as well. Um, the story seems interesting. I'm not too big of a fan of like the environments. The environments seem kind of like I don't want to say uninspired, but just sort of like bland and not like in terms of like graphically or anything like that. Just like I don't know. I just feel like there are environments that we've seen dozens and dozens of times before. Like nothing too interesting or aesthetically unique that's going on with them. Which I guess isn't necessarily like a bad thing. Like definitely the combat seems like the main focus, but I don't know. It was just a little nitpick that I had, or just something that I noticed.
No,
Um,
that's a good point that you said that actually because that reminds me of DMC 5 where the
yes,
gameplay is absolutely
yes.
phenomenal, right? But the environments suck so bad. I'm not saying
You,
visually because visually they look cool,
yeah,
but
yeah,
like the
yeah.
level design is just
You were always in those goddamn like what I don't want to say like caves, but inside the Calliopath or whatever that thing was.
yeah, but you're like inside of like a demon's like butthole
Yeah,
where it's
so
always red and it's just
yeah, yeah. It was just always visually the same. That was my biggest complaint of that game. But yeah, I
same.
agree. What about you, Walt? What did you feel about Lost Soul Side?
Um, Honestly, I remember. I also remember seeing gameplay. I mean, it's old gameplay about this game years ago. I remember a friend of mine telling me about it. I was like, "It. This looks like if refined and treated well, and approached with the right mindset, it can be something incredible." Um, I'm so it looks. The graphics remind me of Jump Force, but what Jump
Oh
Force should have been.
man. Oh
Yeah.
okay, okay. Oh
What,
man.
gotta let me finish, man.
Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
It looks. Shut
Could
up,
you
Macho.
imagine? Could you imagine that? Like you working so hard on this game, and you getting your visuals compared to goddamn Jump Force of everything.
Here's the thing,
Oh
man. Here's
man,
the
I
thing.
would quit, man.
Let, let,
I would pack up my
let
bags
me.
after that.
I gotta take
The
off my
point.
sweater. Hold on.
The point I was trying to make is that this game looks and it looks like it plays what Jump Force should have been. This hyper realism of like approach at red graphics that Jump Force tried to do, which was abominable. That game incredibly bad. Um, Great line characters, but regardless, the game sucks. This game does look like what it should have been, and in the sense that it also gives you that non-stop anime like exaggeration of a combat, very much like the last fight in Final Fantasy 15, which is very anime, and it very much reminds me of that particular fight with Arden. Um, the game looks like Final Fantasy 15, which that's completely fine. I'm all for it. I'm all for how it looks. The environments, again, not how you said. It's not that they're not inspired. It's that we've seen it so many times, and we've seen it done maybe better with context. I don't know if the story will probably add to it, if it'll make sense, and if it'll be memorable. I'm not sure about that. I don't know what the story is. Quite frankly, I didn't pay attention. I just paid attention to how it played and how it looked, because I watched it at night. I wasn't for listening whatever the story was about. I'm all for exploring new mythologies, different mythologies. That's why I really like Raji and Ancient Epic, because it explores Indian mythology, explores these folklore tales that people don't really touch upon. So I'm all for Chinese, approaches to games and context. I think there's another game that's making its way to console or to the West in general. I think console. I don't want to butcher the name. I know it ends with Yuan 3, Yuan 3 or something. I believe it's a Japanese. It's from a Chinese studio. It very much reminds me of that kind of game, where it looks very. What do you call this type of look to a game? Because there's so many particles. When they attack, there's so much. I don't know how to describe it. It's a particular specific style of animation. I'm all for it. I don't know if it'll be enough to hook me into the game. I hope it stands out that much that I'll give it a chance. But other than that, it looks pretty. Yeah, it looks badass. If it'll make me, if it's an Asura's Wrath situation where it's just nonstop craziness with fights, I'm all for it. Even if the story is not that interesting, I'll still give it a shot. But again,
I do like that you get a companion with it, though.
Yeah, I mean,
like a dragon companion.
It reminds me of the game that will never happen, I guess, Scalebound, where that was the premise, right? You had like a companion, or you could ride a dragon or whatever. It's not on that scale specifically, but you do have an added, feature to the game, which not many do. You have companions in games, but what do they really do? I mean, I'm excited. It looks nice. Right now, I can't really say if it'll be a banger for me, but it looks good enough that I'll give it a shot. I don't know how much it'll run for. I assume it'd be like in the 40s or 30s. I don't know if it'll be a $60 bill. I don't know. Maybe it'll be a $70 game. What's going to release on? Is it going to be PlayStation 5 exclusive, or is it going to be multi-platform?
I mean, who really knows about that specifically? Because it was, at one point in time, it was a one-man team, and now since Sony is actually backing this game, the team has since expanded to, I think, around 30 people. So obviously, and I would assume not only because it's been a relatively small team, but also, primarily because of that's why it's been taking so long. And now that the team has expanded, that the scope naturally has expanded with that. So I wouldn't be surprised if this would be a full price game, just because of those things.
As long as they justify it, as long as because again, this style of game, it looks beautiful. The fluorescence, there's a picture. I don't know if that was from the old gameplay or the new one, but it looked like a forest of fluorescent trees, and the grass was like if the moon was shining upon it, and it gave this fluorescent green tint to it. It looked beautiful. The game looks gorgeous. That's one thing. The thing is, I look at it and it reminds me of games that do look incredible, and we have a lot of those, but they turn out flat as hell. That's my biggest thing. That's the immediate thought I get with it, because it's so beautiful looking that I'm already like thinking I'm on the defensive. Will it be good? Will it not be good? It looks gorgeous, but I'm excited for it. Regardless, any game, throw any game at me, I'll try it. Except if it's another COD, I'm tired of those. But throw any game at me.
Unless it's Jump Force for me, then I'm not trying it.
Ugh, no. Ugh, Jesus Christ. Why didn't you even say that name? That name's like Voldemort. It's a crappy game. Expectations.
All right, so yeah, I think consensus, yeah, it looks interesting, but yeah, they definitely got, and obviously like it's still early because I don't think this game is released
For sure.
anytime soon, but things that they got to iron out. But I'm excited.
Yeah,
Like I got my eye on this. I'm excited to see, when they get it over
and
the finish line.
I'm excited that Sony is backing it up because it means hopefully that when localizing, it'll be localized properly. I don't want it to fall into these games where you don't really understand anything that's being explained. I really want to understand what they're trying to convey. Is this based on a folklore? Is this just pure fantasy they're exploring? Is it based on something? Is there anything culturally significant in it? Considering it comes from like completely Chinese, developer. I mean, I'm excited for it. I want it to be done well because it looks like it has a lot of potential if done properly.
Yeah, for sure. All right, man. So yeah, definitely keeping our eyes on that one. I'm excited for the next update. Hopefully, it doesn't take as long to get updated. Like we did, this time because I'm pretty sure they went. God, it feels like a couple of years without updating the status of that game. Um, but yeah, exciting. All right, so let's talk about The Last of Us Part 3 really quickly. So God, actually, I wish I brought up the you know what? I'm gonna I'm gonna go to my own article, man. I'm gonna go to my own article and get these.
Source, dude, trust me.
Yeah. I'm the source here. Look at me, I'm the source now. I'm
Trust
gonna.
me.
So basically, Neil Druckmann was on the Script Apart podcast recently, talking about sort of like a post mortem of the Part 3. Him alongside his co-writer Haley Gross, and yeah, so there was something specifically picked up on that's worth note. Basically, this is regarding The Last of Us Part 3 and sort of the probability of that project. And Neil had this to say, quote unquote, I don't know how much I want to reveal. Me and Haley, we did write an outline for a story that we're not making, but I hope one day can see the light of day. That explores a little bit what happens after this game. We'll see. And then he goes on to say, we've had two games that I feel speak to something universal as well as telling a very personal story for these characters. With one game, there's no pattern of what a franchise is. With two games, now there's starting to be a pattern. Now I feel like there are some structural and thematic themes you'd have to stick to if you're making a third game. And then finally, this was another quote that I thought was really interesting, and this kind of goes into like Naughty Dog's approach of in terms of like choosing what to work on next. And he said, quote unquote, after we finish one of our big titles, we take a long time to explore different ideas, whether it's going to be The Last of Us Part 3, whether it's something new, whether there's some old franchise we want to go back to. I like to fully explore all of those, then look at like, okay, we have all of these ideas in front of us. As a studio, what do we want to commit to? Because it's a huge commitment, monetary, time, passion, talent. So you have to think about all the opportunity costs that come with that. Um, so yeah, I thought that was really interesting because specifically that there was this like little cool, and I wish PlayStation would do this more often because this was so cool. There's this little interview between him and Herman Holst in 2017 around E3 time, and this was when Horizon Zero Dawn came out, and it was basically Neil interviewing Herman Holst about Horizon Zero Dawn and them trading war stories and like how did the gorilla land on Horizon, right? And Herman goes into it and talking about like they had a bunch of different ideas for new IPs to work on after Killzone. They were even planning to do a steampunk shooter of some sorts, but then they eventually landed on Horizon. And then he was talking about the team's approach to choosing projects, and then Neil talked about Naughty Dogs and just basically how they kind of collect all of the creative juices around the studio and try to gauge what people are thinking about and what they want to work on as a studio, and how nothing really is off the table. And yeah, I don't know. I thought that was some really fascinating stuff to learn about. And he's kind of like alluding to that here in this podcast as well. So I just wanted to get like your general thoughts on this idea of, The Last of Us Part 3 has a story outline, but they aren't necessarily making, like, they're not doing that right now. They're potentially making something else. So what's your guys' thoughts on that?
Go ahead, much.
Sure. To kind of like bounce off of the video that you're talking about with Herman Hulse, Neil Druckmann. Yeah, I love that stuff. I wish I'd do that more. Specifically because I am that guy that loves to like go into the minutia of how an idea is tackled and made into reality, like we have with games where people or devs are saying like it's like a miracle that these things even ship to stores.
Yeah.
I love that stuff. It's one of the reasons why like I love watching behind the scenes with like Disney movies and stuff like that, like how they created like these movies. But yeah, it's interesting stuff to kind of like dive into that. I love how Naughty Dog is taking the approach of sort of like Pixar, where like they don't force a sequel, but when they have an idea, even if it's like 5 or 10 years later, they'll just go with it. Which is why we have Finding Dory 2 or Finding Dory, and that's like what 10 years after like the original movie came out, or Toy Story 4 and stuff like that. So I like that Naughty Dog is doing that, and again they have an outline as you have in your article, and it'd be interesting to see where it goes, because I know a lot of people were divisive on The Last of Us Part 2.
Yeah.
But I did see a couple of really funny memes where like the one guy was like sleep. It was like a video, and the one guy was sleeping. Then like someone has like this is like Naughty Dog and how they treat Ellie, where the guy's sleeping. Then someone comes up with a gun on the guy's head, and he's like, "Get up." It's like, just Ellie rest, let her rest.
Yeah, definitely. And like I think that's a great point. Like I feel like after the sort of tumultuous sort of online response to the game, yeah, and let the franchise rest, man. Let it breathe a little bit. Give it that room to breathe. Especially since I feel like Part 2 ended off in such a manner that, yeah, you can definitely let it rest for a few years and possibly come back to it at the end of the generation. So, Walt, what's going on with you, man?
If they do anything right, they have it outlined. They don't have plans of creating the game. Who knows? Neo might have a spasm at the moment. He's like, you know what? Screw it. We're doing it. I don't know what they might have planned. If they even have anything planned for the Last of Us universe, not so much factions. That's a whole different kind of worms, but more so in the story. If they tackle anything, right? If they're gonna produce a game, whatever they have behind the scenes, that can change so much. They can have a specific character. Next, it's a completely different character. If they tackle any story in particular, I would love to see a Last of Us of Abby and Lev. That would be, and it's due to the fact that I fell so in love with these characters, and I agree. Give the franchise a bit to breathe. Give it some room to breathe, because it just came out. It was quite a tumultuous reception from the audience. A lot of it was not even by people that played the game. It was just people that saw leaks and people that saw gameplay, and they just decided to judge for some whatever reason. And a lot of they make controversies out of things that shouldn't be controversial. Give it a few years, yeah, for sure. But if you're gonna do anything with Ellie, give me some closure there. Just give it closure, because I don't think she deserves any more than what she's already been through. She understood the memo. She gets it. She shouldn't seek this path to destruction. Give her a nice little ending, or not. Just where's it gonna leave at? Because there's a lot of things, right? there's so much they can do with that ending, but at the same time, they can just leave it as it is. As much as people just prefer one of them to kick the bucket at that final scene or not, I don't know. Because
either way, they're gonna do something that you're not gonna expect.
Yeah, and that's what I want, right? That's I want something that's what they've done with The Last of Us. Again, it is a story about quote unquote zombies, survival, whatever. But what it makes Last of Us so unique and so memorable is the characters. Is these personal stories, these real humans that they've created in this fictional world. This fictional version of what is it? The west of the United States, Seattle, California, all these places.
Yeah,
but
yeah, and like I thought, just sort of the quote of him, like, because I know for whatever reason this has been a concern of people lately that now Sony is stepping in and telling these teams what to work on, but seemingly by this quote, and this has always been the case with Naughty Dog, is they've always had full and complete autonomy, sort of their fate in their own hands to sort of choose what they work on. And Neil kind of is saying that here as well, that hey, nothing is really off the table for us to work on. It's just whatever sort of draws the most passion from the team. So yeah,
which is nice. I like hearing that from like a head, where it's not just obviously you have there's people above your pay grade and are saying here, make this, right, and obviously you have to do it because the person at the top saying they want you to do that. But it's really cool to hear from Neil himself, who's like he's like VP of Naughty Dog.
Yeah, he's vice president.
Just to hear him say it, like
he might be,
or did they get promoted?
I thought he got promoted to vice president, but now I'm thinking that he's co-president now.
Yeah, I remember hearing that he got promoted recently.
Yeah, I think he's co-president now.
That was last year, right?
Oh, I don't know.
Possibly. I mean, The Last of Us Part 2 doing so well, possibly.
Yeah. Man, that was good. You're going up.
Yeah, no, but like it's nice to hear that from someone like him, where it is just like a really big collaborative. Sorry if you hear my baby nephew.
No, you're good.
You're just okay. You were just like all a collaborative process. It was like, all right, what game are we feeling that we want to make that's really gonna like get us excited? That's really cool.
I can imagine the meeting. He's just he puts his feet on the table. He's just chilling. He's like, all right, give me ideas, people. Anything, literally anything is on the table. What do we want? How about clickers, but they can't hear? Love it. What's next? They just keep pitching completely absurd ideas. I mean, honestly, Naughty Dog so far, the games I've played, I haven't played all of them that they've made, but the ones I've played from them, that being limited to Uncharted and Last of Us, I haven't played. I think what they do, what else have they done, which I haven't done. I think they're all games. Yeah, I never played that. Yeah, that one. Not all of them. Crash, Uncharted, Last of Us. They've all been bangers. I mean, they all sell. They're all great. They're doing great. They're Sony's, baby, and or partner in crime. I don't know. They're doing well. I mean, it makes sense. Come on, just do anything. Well, not anything. Do whatever you want, but make it good.
All right, man. So yeah. Let's move on, man. So let's talk about Returnal, man. This first of all, congrats to Housemarque on the launch of the game, man, and to the stellar reviews, man. It's an 80 sitting at an 86 on Metacritic right now. And
yes, sir.
Yeah, it's essentially, I don't know, would you consider it universally praised? Is that fair to say?
Well, nothing's absolute.
Obviously, that doesn't mean that. Go ahead.
It might be too early to say, really. I think.
Right. But like amongst reviewers,
I feel like critically praised. Yeah. Critically praised. Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, people are really digging this game. Sort of the big discussion around this game before I guess before launch and sort of right now, the main conversation is surrounding the difficulty, and it always confused me that people had this. I feel like it was a fake concern. People were saying that because of its difficulty, that it wasn't going to review well, as if games like Dark Souls, Neo, Hollow Knight, and Spelunky don't, aren't critically acclaimed games as well, So I always felt that conversation was like a little weird, but yeah, it's pretty interesting that like sort of just the difficulty of the game is incredibly unrelenting and demanding of these reviewers that some of them didn't even like finish the game, and yeah, I don't know, I find that really interesting. Like, what are you guys's like sort of takes on the difficulty of Returnal and just like what it's been doing to some of these reviewers, man?
A lot of gamer cards are gonna get revoked this
Yeah,
weekend.
man.
No, I'm just kidding. It's tough. Like reviewing a game that's like really hard. I don't know, man, because I haven't had a chance to actually get into that. Rather like reviewing like a Bloodborne or Dark Souls, or I'm not even reviewing Returnal for LordsOfGaming.net.
Yeah.
So I can't really have much say on that, but it is pretty cool to kind of see everybody have like this shared grief slash like addiction
Yeah.
to like how hard it is, but are also kind of like embracing it. And what I really love seeing about that is that when a game that is hard that does come out, people are always responding with helpful hints and advice and stuff like that. And to see that on the timeline is really cool.
Yeah, for sure.
They just need to go. They just need to go play Fury, and
Fury is rough.
it's ridiculously hard. I mean,
Yeah, I agree. That game was really hard to beat, and I did beat it, but yeah,
absolutely.
that was a tough one.
For sure, and it's the same, constant, bullet hell, boss rush. In this case, it's not so much a boss rush; it's more, you do have your moments of, your breathing space where you just explore. There's collectibles, there's upgrades, there's the environment. I compared it to how the environment, it feels alive. I don't have the game, granted. To all the listeners who are new to this, I don't have a PS5 yet, but I've seen the gameplay. And I've seen how when you explore the music, and that was my biggest concern, the music, right? The soundtrack. It sounds incredible. It sounds like a living, breathing world, like it's pulsing, like it is, like it's so alien. It feels alien. It doesn't feel familiar at all. It does feel what it's supposed to feel, It's a completely different planet. Now, I don't know the story. I'm not gonna. I've purposefully avoided any manner of story because I've heard that if the story you piece together and spoiling yourself even a little bit of the story, you will take away that aspect of exploration and you being able to explore on your own and put the pieces together. So I'm avoiding it purposefully. But the game itself, I thought initially that it was going to be just constant battle. You don't have time to breathe. You only have the like little sections to breathe. But no, you have a lot of room to breathe. Which, again, I don't know if it's the style of game. I get it. It's more fast paced than a game like Dark Souls or Bloodborne. But again, is that what's giving these? Granted, not all reviewers are pro gamers, I guess, but you're not supposed to be a pro gamer. It's just a matter of repeating and practice and getting better. That's basic human psychology, cognitive psychology. You practice and you get better. So what's the deal? Oh, the spike. Yeah, man. Crash has it. Crash has a spike in difficulty. That doesn't make it a bad game. Granted, reviewers are not saying it's a bad game, but I mean, take your time.
No, it's just like the idea of like because there's like this very like rigid black and white idea when it comes to reviewing games that you have to absolutely beat the game. You have to see credits in order to review it. And I mean, I feel like it really depends on the game. Like I feel like there's a lot of variables that plays into that. But with something like Returnal, where you get the sense of the gameplay loop and like what it's doing and what it's trying to say. And if you beat it, sure, that's amazing, but you understand what Returnal is. If you've been playing games long enough, you understand what games are within the first 5 hours, and then you get more of that as you keep playing. And from what it seems like with these reviewers, that they played enough of it, even if they didn't beat it, they have an idea of saying this is how this game is. And if you answer two questions, which is it worth your money and is it worth your time, then I think you're able to review a game.
Sure, but at the same time, I don't want them talking about, oh, the story, doesn't feel, satisfying or whatever. Like I don't want them to be talking about Celine as a character or just like the story when they haven't seen that all the way through, when they haven't gotten, the necessary closure on that stuff. Like, yeah, I agree, gameplay wise, if you've spent goddamn like 30 hours and haven't been able to get to the second biome, then I would think that you have like a pretty decent understanding of the gameplay loop. But then at the same time, like apparently the game does evolve, over time. So like, I don't know. I don't know.
But
it's
No, no,
like,
I agree. I agree with that. I 100% agree with you. Definitely on like Asar's story point, which is why like it's really important when you're writing a review to make these things clear.
yeah, for sure, for sure.
Exactly. That was my point, because make it clear. If you haven't beaten the game, or if you haven't gone through the whole story, make those points clear eloquently.
Which again
don't make it sound like it's a negative.
Which is what pissed me off about Gravity Rush, man. People didn't play those secret chapters, man. You didn't get the full closure with Cat. God damn it! I'm gonna be pissed.
See, that's how you know when like people really want to play. So I'm glad you said that though, because there's definitely those reviewers that would like to review a game and didn't get far enough to really actually be like, yeah, this is a great game. Like, did you play this stuff?
Yeah, one of my
reviews.
Sorry,
go ahead.
I was just gonna say that like one of my like biggest or one of my, I don't know, I would say favorite, but it's like one of the quotes that has like stuck with me with this whole Returnal stuff. Gene Park, who I follow on Twitter, he's really cool. He was saying this is no shade to him at all. This whole conversation is no shade to reviewers or anything like that. Like I sympathize having a week to beat an incredibly demanding game. Like I sympathize. So this is no shade or anything like that. But he was saying that like he plays Souls games to relax essentially. Like that's a relaxing experience for him, and he couldn't beat Returnal or he God. I want to go find the exact quote or something, but he said something along the lines of like it took him days to just get out of the second biome, and that's the sort of experience that this game is shaping up to be, which is nuts.
I mean, it's a completely different approach to the game. Dark Souls is an RPG, open world exploring. Take your time. Fighting these waves of enemies. You don't have the same kind of pressure that Returnal has, where you are obligated to dodge. You're obligated to do all these movements, and your brain goes into another state of mind. You have to be aware and you have to be hyper vigilant at all times. Where Dark Souls, it's more take your time, learn the patterns, and you'll be good. I do think Returnal has patterns. I do think there's a system to it. There is, you have different kinds of weapons. You have different kinds of enemies. You learn which enemies are more prone to be, taken down by certain X or Y or Z weapons faster or whatever. But I do think that the spike or the curve there is way larger than maybe a Dark Souls one. I don't know.
So let's actually like get into like the nitty gritty of the gameplay, because I think like sure this game does have like main sticking point in the game is like the roguelike elements and whatnot, but like I feel like there's a lot of cool stuff happening in this game that makes it sort of its own like unique beast, because I feel like this is sort of this is probably like hyperbolic, but I feel like this game is like sort of like the first of its kind, like in terms of just like a roguelike on this big of a production scale and whatnot. Like we really haven't seen anything like it, and that's kind of what makes it wholly unique. But so yeah, just in terms of like the gameplay of going through these biomes and so essentially like we all know that you're placed within these biomes and you have to get from point A to point B Within that, you're going to be bombarded with a ton of these unrelenting enemies that are going to be coming for your neck the whole time. Um, but so like essentially it's like a bullet hell style combat where you're just like, it's, I think Skill Up described it as just like a constant display of like fireworks coming at you, and you have, you know, this dash ability that gives you like invincible iframes, so you don't take damage while you're dashing through these things. But like some of the most interesting stuff to me about this game is some of like the nitty gritty mechanics of it. So like the game has this thing called the malignant system, which is like, it's so cruel, dude. It's so cruel. And it's basically these like, you'll stumble upon these items and consumables that you can pick up to help relieve some stress on your runs, that will give you a buff. For instance, you pick up this malignant and it'll give you plus, you know, let's say 15% damage or something like that. But you will have a high risk if you pick this up. You're basically rolling the dice. It will give you, you have a high risk of obtaining a malfunction if you decide to pick up this item. So now in your head, you're kind of like, okay, do I want to actually take this? Like, I need the extra damage. Do I want to take this? But at the same time, it has a high damage of malfunctioning my suit. It's like, what do I do here? So then you're like, you know what? Whatever, I'm gonna pick it up. So you pick it up, and then you roll the dice and pick it up, and then yeah, you actually do get a malfunction in your suit, and it's like, okay, your cooldown for your dashing ability is gonna be slowed down, but you can get rid of it if you kill 5 enemies with melee attacks. So I find this whole premise of like the risk versus reward in Returnal really, really interesting with the malignant system of like, yeah, I'm in desperate need of this item right here, but I also have a high risk of malfunctioning my suit. Do I take that chance, or do I just leave it alone and keep going on my on my merry way? I don't know. It's stuff like that that they're doing with the gameplay. That's really really cool. Is there anything you guys have been noticing about the gameplay that's sort of piqued your interest? Because that's kind of the thing that has really been catching my eye a little bit.
For me, it's the environments. I'm in love with the aesthetic of this game. It
Yeah,
looks so much like an Aliens and Prometheus movie in video game form, and just done so well.
yeah,
And I'm watching streams of the game because since I can't play it this weekend, excuse me, but yeah, and the one streamer that I watch constantly, he streamed it for 8 hours straight. It was
Jesus.
just,
Whoa.
yeah, 8.5 hours. He usually streams for like quite a long time, but this is like when he streams for that long, he is like loving the game because it
Yeah,
just is a gameplay flow. Or and then I see a lot of people say where it's addicting, and I can see that
yeah,
because Hades is like really addicting too, and you're getting all these power ups, and you're going through the different sections and stuff like that. So,
yeah,
and the fact that the environments are kind of like it's like what Walt said before, where they're like alive, right? Where they feel like they have like their own, they live outside of you walking in them, which is something that's really hard to do with games, and it seemed like they nailed it, and that's what like really gravitated for me, on top of just like the enemy designs, where Skill Up did say like, yeah, it's like fireworks on display all the time in front of you,
yeah.
like that's like a treat, that's a visual treat that when you get that game every now and then, it's something you just have to like really soak in, because and soak in when it's done well, because
Yeah.
it's not easy.
And like to that point, like the environments are always changing as well. So like each time that you die, the environment changes like structurally, but also, you know, obviously enemy placement and item placements will be different than your last run. But also I haven't been able to see this yet, but apparently the environments can change like quite drastically to the point that like the overgrown ruins, for instance, can apparently get like it could start snowing in that environment apparently. Um, so,
Oh, that's pretty cool.
but it's all obviously like randomly generated, right? So you might never see that,
Right.
but apparently
That's so
that
dope.
could happen. So yeah, to that point of the environments, Macho, yeah, that's also something that's really, really cool to me as well.
I love the fact that each person will have a completely different experience when it comes to like anything. No walkthrough will be the same for anyone, and I love that. I love that about a game. That's what I love about roguelikes in general. Enter the Gungeon did it so well with the different abilities you could have, different guns you could have, uh, being able to balance that. Should I go back and upgrade? Should I go back and purchase more items? I love it. And in this case, I don't know too much about the features themselves, but I believe you can travel from section to section that you've been to and upgrade and purchase certain items and
Yeah, so
explore areas.
there's like a few things that care, and this is I guess sort of the more controversial parts about the game, and then we can sort of naturally go into
Interesting.
like the ability to save and whatnot. But like, yeah, there's a few things that you can carry over. So like obviously unlocked shortcuts that you get on your runs will carry over between runs.
Oh,
So
cool.
that's obviously going to cut, a lot of time down for sure. But
Yeah.
like weapons, you won't be able to keep. Aside from like the melee and like the melee sword, and then you can keep your grappling hook. But aside from that, the guns that you pick up on your runs, that's gonna reset every time. And obviously like consumables and things of that nature you won't be able to keep. There is a currency called ether that you will be able to keep in between runs. So that's that's all right, I guess. But there's not too much. You're essentially for the most part starting from scratch each and every time.
Right. Has there been anyone that has been able to access a certain like end game content or like a secret area that's like, oh, you do all this and this is where it pays off?
Um, I there's I don't know if it's secret, but there's multiple endings. I know that for sure.
Got oh, interesting.
Yeah,
Wow.
and then I mean, there's like side rooms and stuff like that. That's like challenge rooms, but like I'm almost like this is this is something that I've been thinking about. I'm kind of weary of like I kind of just want to stay on the main path, man. Because like if it's not anything that's gonna lead me to my main objective, I don't want to see it, man. Because like apparently there's like a lot of side rooms that you can stumble into, and then immediately like the doors lock behind you, and like 30 enemies
Oh
appear, and then you're gonna
God.
get clapped, man. So like I don't want to put myself through that. I don't I
Hey
don't want to
man,
do that.
that's the best part. That's the best part. You're in Dark Souls, you go around the corner, you get jumped by an enemy and you die, you lose all your souls, you gotta go
Yeah,
back. That's what makes the high of the victory so high, and the
yeah.
lows feel like I can do better. I can do better, you know?
I learned my
Yeah, that's
lesson,
that's
man.
why that's why Haze was like such a like standout because it was so streamlined like that where it was linear even if it was procedurally generated it was linear.
Yeah.
Right, but you had so many different combinations of weapons and perks, and you unlocked something new. You were basically encouraged to die. In Hades, if you die, you actually didn't feel like you wasted time. You actually did a lot by dying because you could upgrade and access different things back in whatever the area was where you live in.
Yeah, and
Um,
like with this, like people shouldn't be expecting sort of the same diversity with builds that
right.
Hades had, like without a doubt. But the thing with Returnal is that like yeah, each time you die, you should be trying out or like sort of discovering okay, like what weapons work best for me. What's sort of the weapons that I feel most comfortable with. Like it encourages experimentation with the buffs and sort of putting together your own distinct loadout that you feel is the most optimal for runs and whatnot, because yeah, there's a large variety of weapons, and um obviously there's proficiency that increases stats within those weapons, and then there's alt fires to go along with that stuff. So like there's a lot of variety with the weapons and the buffs and parasites that you can get to make your loadouts your own. but
Right.
it's definitely not as in depth as Hades.
No, for sure. And I mean, if that's the case too, then you could argue that a lot of these reviewers, I don't know specific cases, but they maybe are approaching this with the mindset of this is the best build. This will last me maybe the entire game. And then they realize, wait, why is it so hard? No, because you need to experiment. It encourages you to try different approaches, different weapons. You know, maybe for you attacking this specific enemy is easier with the handgun, and for me is maybe with a shotgun. I don't know. Like experiment, people.
Yeah, definitely. So let's. I wanted to get you guys' opinion on the game, essentially, and I don't know how common this is for other roguelikes. The game having essentially no save feature. So like, like I kind of like hearken this to like I think I touched on this in my article too, is that like, can you imagine if the bonfire system was completely absent in Dark Souls? Like you basically had to like go, like you basically would have to essentially kill bosses or clear out entire levels like on your first try, or else you would lose all your souls like permanently, right? Without the sort of advantage of being able to recover those souls by returning to, you know, the position where you died last. Like that's basically like what Returnal is. Like it doesn't it's absent of the bonfire system and the ability to recover those quote unquote souls. Um and this is all kind of like tied together to the game not having like any form of a save system. The only thing that we really can do, and the game even warns you about this in the beginning before you boot it up, is that like, hey, if you need to take a break or you need to like quote unquote like save your progress, put the console into rest mode. But like even that is kind of like not
Old
that
school.
not that good, because like you won't be able to like switch to other games or like other applications. You have to keep Returnal open at all times if you want to keep your progress,
You
which
can't even back out to the menu.
yeah. So like what's your guys' thoughts on that? Like do you guys think this game should absolutely have some sort of a save system, or what?
You know, if you're not gonna have a save system, it better be one damn polished game.
Yeah, I mean, so
That's
far it's proved to be that, right?
yeah, more or less. I did see a couple people post videos of like the game did crash on them, but
Gotcha.
Yeah.
since the fact of like even when you die, you basically kind of like hard reset anyway with like your weapons and stuff like that. So like I guess it's not like a huge deal, but like
Yeah.
if you're in the middle of a run and like you got a really good build, you feel good about it, but you gotta go to a grocery store or something, and then
Exactly.
your console is left in rest mode, and you have to update the console, and it does it automatically.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Yeah, or
Honestly,
yeah.
maybe I'm being too unfair with this, but that's honestly,
That's the player's fault.
yeah, I mean, if the throwing of the game is to make you feel like you should experiment. Every time you die, what do you do wrong? What should you improve? Each time you die, you maybe put another piece of the puzzle for the story. Maybe you discover it's procedurally generated. So the reason that, you know, part of the reason that maybe there's no save system is because when you die, you won't go to the same 2 or 3 rooms again. It'll be a completely different area, so it won't feel redundant as usual. And hey, listen, man, Housemark ain't here. You know, they don't.
They ain't here to
give
hold
you
your
to go
hand,
buy
man.
groceries. They don't need to go buy. They don't think about you going to buy groceries. They don't think if you have to change your baby's diaper. They don't think if you have a 9 o'clock appointment. It's a game, man. There's only so much they can. If they don't want a save system, hey, man, I haven't played the game, but so far, general consensus, it's a pretty polished game. They're doing it, you know, pretty well in terms of justifying why they don't have a save system.
Yeah, but I can understand like why people want like a more convenient feature like
Yeah.
No,
that.
for sure, I
I
get
definitely
it.
do.
But
Just for the fact that like when I even could put in my own situation here, because like when I'm playing a game like Gravity Rush, right? I can turn my mind off for some parts of it, and then just play, and then whatever the case may be. But for some, and I could take that like in doses. But some like Ni no Kuni, where I'm gonna sit down and like be enveloped in the story, I need to put time into that. So it's just a matter of like whether the player wants to sit down, play for 20 minutes, or wants to play for 2 hours.
That's the thing. Like this is a large like commitment, for better or for worse, and like I don't know, a part of me is kind of worried about that, because like I sort of don't do like long chunks of like gaming sessions. Like here and there I can, but like for the most part I'll dip in games for like an hour, and then I'm out and I have to go do something else. So like I'm kind of worried about that, when apparently these runs can last a pretty long time.
Yeah, honestly, that's what I was worried about personally, is because like I am out of state, I'm not home. I can't really like dive into a game like that. I had to go on and off and on, whatever the case may be. And then like by the time I do get home, it's work, and then guess what? Resident Evil 7 or Resident Evil 8 comes out that same week. So
if anything, if it becomes too much of a problem in the next few months, in the next year, if they do a patch where it's or an update where it's now you have the option to save or to go back to the beginning, and I don't know, invest in this upgrade, and I don't know, some way around it. But honestly, it's like, it reminds me of the people that wanted easy mode in Dark Souls. No, if the developer intends for the game to be a challenge, and that's their core philosophy, don't try to change it. Yes, I get accessibility is important in any game. But if
Speaking of which, Returnal does have really great accessibility options, but continue.
Oh, it does?
Yeah, but if the like as far as the people like that are like disabled and want to play the game, like
tight.
Which is cool.
But if the game itself, the developer said, if they said, we're making this is our baby, we want it to be this way, and this is the core philosophy of our game, I think that should be respected. Not everything should be spoon-fed to people, and because sometimes, hey, unfair doesn't mean bad. Sometimes it just means it's not for you. You know what I mean? And this is by no means, invalidating anyone's situation. People have lives. People have certain disabilities, of course. But certain games, they're just built different. You know what I mean?
Housemark, he's saying Housemark ain't here to tuck you in the bed. They ain't here to tuck the bib in your shirt and feed you your food.
It's 5 in the morning. It's 5 in the morning. Housemark grabs those pots and pans, starts fucking hitting them together. Hey, hora de despertarte! Come on, get up, boy. Nah, man.
But
yeah, man. But I get it. Again, by no means am I trying to invalidate anyone's situation.
Yeah, we get it. Yeah.
But it's a video game. Come on, it's so silly.
I know, I understand. Yeah, I definitely understand that viewpoint, especially since like coming off of Control, where like we didn't touch on this, but I figure it'd be like a nice segue, where I was playing Control, right, and I say like how the DualSense features just add to the gameplay so much, and Returnal could be that game where like you are going to be playing for 2 or 3 hours straight because it's so immersive.
Yeah.
With the DualSense stuff like that. So.
Right.
Definitely. But yeah, man. I mean, I'm really happy for them, for Housemark, just in general. Like they've been able to translate. It's pretty incredible, man. They've been able to translate their sort of DNA, the thing that they've really hung their hat on, into a AAA scale game, which is pretty cool. And you guys saw that the letter that the CEO wrote, sort of in preparation for the game's launch, and saying how in an age where publishers don't take many risks, that he was thanking Sony. He was thanking Sony for taking a chance on them. You saw that much?
You just want to put another feather in your hat, my man.
Hey, man, I'm feeling a little good. I'm feeling a little good,
You just got your new 3-piece suit. You got the hat. I feel you, man. Flex, man.
But no, I felt like, man, that was like, I mean, more than likely it's not, but it almost
It's
felt
like
like
Herman Hulst. Yeah.
it almost felt like a direct kind of response to like, because like even like Skill Up specifically, and I think Eurogamer as well, but like another reviewer, sort of like the main tagline in their reviews was like, um, Sony quote unquote proves that they still take big risks or whatnot. I don't know. I just thought that was a little funny, man. I I got my eye
Yeah,
out for that.
he was definitely he was definitely talking to the masses on that one
Yeah, for
for
sure.
sure. But I mean it's rightfully so because looking at Returnal and seeing all these reviews, you're like, yeah, they definitely weren't playing it safe.
Yeah, for sure.
Even with
Um,
The Last of Us 2, that was like that could have been
yeah,
such an easy sequel, and they're like, no.
yeah, definitely.
No, take risks, man. Take risks. None of this cookie cutter BS. We need
Uh,
risks. We need
So,
innovation.
I'm happy to
um,
see that though. I'm really happy
yeah,
to see that. That's like
definitely,
it's great.
definitely. Um,
Yes.
so let's get into. I think this is pretty much one of our last topics. Let's talk about Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, man.
Oh
Um,
hell yeah.
yeah, man. So honestly, this was kind of, I don't want to say came out of nowhere, but took me by surprise at least. Monday they came out with a new trailer, and then an announcement that they were having a state of play dedicated to Ratchet and Clank on the ensuing Thursday. Which again, I love when they've been doing this for quite some time now. These sort of one game dedicated state of plays. So we had this obviously for Last of Us, Ghost of Tsushima, Demon Souls, Destruction All Stars had one, and now Ratchet and Clank just got theirs. Just sort of these
Yeah,
developer
Returnal had
deep,
like a whole web series.
yeah, and just these sort of developer deep dives into their games. It's always appreciated, man. I love those. So yeah, Ratchet and Clank got one yesterday. What did you guys think of it, man?
Beautiful, beautiful. Hey, let me tell you, I I did a piece uncovering the news yesterday on the state of play for Ratchet and Clank specifically. Yeah, they announced Subnautica, Below Zero, Among Us, but we were not there to hear that. We heard Ratchet and Clank. We were there for them. Not to say the other one didn't matter. A lot of people are excited for those, but dude, the so I knew that they were going to approach this with next gen in mind, right? I never really delved too much into it because again, I don't have a next gen console. But seeing yesterday's state of play and actually paying attention to what they're doing and having a PS4, I hear what I listen to what they had to say, to what Marcus Smith, creative director, was talking about. And dude, the fastness, the mobility,
Wait, wait, did you? Oh my God, dude. Oh my, I wish, I don't think you guys saw it, but I would,
what?
there was this cop, so like, I don't know if I was like on a high speed chase or whatever, but like all these cop cars were following me, and one of the cops was like standing on top of his hood as the car was just driving like goddamn like 80 miles an hour shooting at me. Obviously a glitch, man, but that was the funniest thing I have ever seen.
This
Please
man having a
continue.
blast there. The fastness, the absolute the loading times, the idea of you being able to go from level to level near instantaneously. They showed it the moment that I saw that this game I need to have it once I have my PS5 is the moment that they introduce it's like a mini boss fight with a nefarious juggernaut, and during the middle of the fight, you get teleported to a complete, according to them, a completely different level that's actually in the game on a completely different planet, and it loads near instantaneously. And I was like, how quick is this game? How quick is the PS5? I need the PS5.
It was
So
legit like 3 to 4 seconds of like
it's
loading slash
crazy.
Latin slash not loading. Like from the moment like
It's
Ratchet
insane.
like opens up like the rift into when he
Yeah.
gets into that world, it's like legit 3 or 4 seconds.
And you can also use the rift tether hook to move yourself from place to place in the battlefield itself, and it's seamless. It's like it doesn't even. There's no lag. There's nothing. It's beautiful. I love the section with Rivet as well. I'm really excited that we're gonna have two. What are they? Two Lombaxes, whatever the hell they are.
Yeah.
Female representation. Great.
Hey man,
fantastic.
I can tell you the moment, and shout out to the Iron Lords, man, stopping by the podcast. Really appreciate that, man.
Appreciate that for sure.
It's I can tell you right now, man, that on Monday when they revealed Rivet's name, all the Rule 34 artists, they're rubbing their hands together like Birdman, dude.
They gave their seal of approval.
Oh my God, the seal's back. The seal is back. Walt's pet seal's back. I told you.
Hey man, that's just me giving my seal of approval.
Oh man, please.
Oh
Macho,
man, the
please.
dad jokes.
Please
Macho,
take it away.
What did you think about yesterday's?
Well, it looks like what I want it to be, which is like a Ratchet and Clank game just turned up to 11. It's kind of what you expect from Insomnia Games at this point, because they're such a high caliber studio with such a touch of finesse and quality like we haven't seen before, because like these consoles now are like really pushing what creatives can do. So I'm really excited to see what they're gonna do with it. But honestly, the one feature that has me the most excited, and it has had me the most excited about, but really with any game that's like a PS5 exclusive or supporting PS5 features, is the DualSense. I was a fan of it with Astrobot. I became like, I guess, more of like a true believer of like what third party can do with the DualSense after Control. And to hear what they're doing with Returnal, for one, where it's like people are saying it's one of the best implementations since Astrobot, and then now Ratchet and Clank, where they're gonna get like all those bells and whistles in place, dude, it's gonna be nuts. And like, it really is like a next gen like experience when you're not only enhancing what you're seeing but what you're feeling, and that's what the DualSense is doing.
And there's alternate firing, which they're taking advantage of that. Which a lot with not only one weapon, with a lot of them, they have.
With the where you pull down like halfway to get like the single shot, and then like fully to get the automatic. Is that what
essentially, yeah. And they not with only one, like with the blaster, but a lot of the weapons that they're introducing, they do have that alternative firing or ability that they do, depending on how far you pull the trigger.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah. I'm excited. June's going to be a really big month for gaming, so it's going to be cool.
Yeah, and hopefully I'll cop a PS5.
We'll get you I want to count on that, man.
Hey.
Yeah. Yeah. For me, yeah. It's got that same, like, I hate because I feel like calling it like a Pixar movie is kind of like getting cliche at this point, but it's just kind of like the go-to thing to say now. But it's got that same.
It's a pedigree comparison.
It's got that same sort of like visual fidelity that just like dropped my jaw of seeing the latest or even really seeing the Kina reveal for the first time. It just has that same the same kind of look and aesthetic that sort of just dropped my jaw. It's present in Ratchet and Clank as well. I basically, agree with everything that's been said so far. My one thing that has me I don't know if apprehensive is the right word, but just like a little disappointed is that like I don't know what your guys' familiarity with the series is in general, but one of the biggest things that disappointed me about Ratchet and Clank 2016 was actually I'll touch on that later, but really quickly, one of the biggest things that I did absolutely love about Ratchet Rift Apart in comparison to 2016's remake or reimagining, whatever the hell that was the sort of like the cutscenes in the 2016 game were so stilted. Like all the characters like barely moved, aside from the obvious like animated movie cutscenes. Everything else, like the conversations between characters, were just like no one was moving. It was just so like stiff and just like lifeless, and which is just like for a Ratchet and Clank
like
game,
Horizon.
but like for a Ratchet and Clank game, it's just like you can't have that, man, because like the one of the biggest appeals about Ratchet and Clank is like how the characters are animated, how they move, how they're just expressed within their movements and whatnot. And in 2016, it just felt lifeless, um, specifically in conversations and cutscenes between characters. In Rift Apart, that is not the case at all. So I'm glad that that has been like seemingly rectified. Like this is definitely like a full scale Ratchet and Clank game, which definitely makes me really really happy. But back to what I was trying to say earlier, was that this one of my biggest problems with 2016 was the sort of like uninspired, like almost like Disneyification of like the humor and comedy of the game. Like again, I don't know your familiarity with like the OG trilogy with the first game, Going Commando, Up Your Arsenal, and even Deadlocked. Like those games had like a subtle humor that like they weren't afraid of like saying some pretty crazy shit, dude. They really were not afraid.
I mean, even the
Do you
title,
think
Up
do,
Your Arsenal.
do
Yeah,
you
yeah,
think it's
yeah.
because that it was because it was like sort of like a movie tie-in?
Um, Possibly, but then at the same time, like this started happening with like the Future Saga as well. Just like the comedy was just kind of getting like it just wasn't.
Too vanilla.
It just didn't have that same like quote unquote like edginess to it or whatever. That's a really like broad way of describing it, but like you get what I mean with saying
Very
that.
tongue in
Yeah.
cheek.
Tongue in cheek, yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, with those games like specifically, it was definitely dialed back, and also I don't know if this is the case, but like I almost feel like it's the case, but like you could get away with those jokes back in 2002, 2003 and
Oh, for
whatnot, but
sure.
like we're in a different age, so maybe that plays into it as well, but like for instance, Up Your Arsenal, like I was just watching like some of the cutscenes I think like 2 nights ago, and like my absolute like it has one of my favorite like jokes in the entire series is that like Ratchet and Clank, they're talking to like this like he's like a president of like this planet or whatever, and they're talking about like how much they need to get Captain Cork back because he's like not retired, but like he's done with like the hero stuff. So like they're talking about how like they need to get him back on the job and whatnot, and, and the president is like, oh, Ratchet, my daughter tells me you're a man who's good with his hands, Ratchet. And Ratchet immediately he's like, sir, I swear I never. And then like the conversation just like the president like interrupts him and he just like keeps going. And it's just like little subtle things like that. It's just
What
like
the
those games permeated with those little jabs so much,
Yeah,
man.
no.
And
You can't do that
and
now.
I suppose not, man. And yeah, like the
I
Future
mean, I
Saga.
wish it would come back to that too, because like even some Pixar movies do have like that sense of humor where like adults are like looking at like, did they just
Yeah,
reference
Yeah,
that?
but kids
yeah,
don't catch it because again, it is double meaning, and a lot of Disney does that well with a lot of movies where you go back and it's like whoa, 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 Disney kind of horny, but no, it's just that they
Especially Toy Story.
it's not
oh
even
like
like the quote unquote like like horniness of it, but like Ratchet and
have you
Clank.
seen the movies?
No, I'm talking about Ratchet and Clank. But
Oh no,
like
for sure.
but like they had a specific like sort of like the satire and the sort of takes on the dark side of like consumerism and just how they flipped it on its head and like made it like really really funny in those games of like extortion of like these giant mega corporations like extorting people and whatnot, and how they made that work in a new sort of funny you know shedding light on that in a humorous kind of way has just kind of been like absent for a while, and then so like now I'm trying to tie this back in the Rift Apart is that like what I've seen, and granted we haven't seen much of this game, but what I've seen so far isn't really like like building any confidence that that sort of humor is going to return. So that kind of makes me a little sad, but I don't know. That's just kind of like one of my biggest takeaways that I've kind of seen so far from Rift Apart. I'm crossing my fingers that maybe some of that stuff can still be in there, but I'm not
Yeah.
too confident right now.
I mean, hopefully, yeah, maybe they do. Maybe they're hiding it. They're making sure that the PR and all these advertisements they're as PG as it can to bring in a lot of a broader audience. And then when you dive into the game, you get all these I hear your my daughter tells me whatever he said. Maybe
Yeah.
you get those types of lines. I hopefully that sounds fantastic. That sounds like a blast.
Yeah, that's what made those games like so fun, man. And what also made them so distinct from, Jack and Sly. That's what helped really, kind of like, even though I prefer like the narrative of the Sly trilogy, like Ratchet was awesome because of stuff like that. Like like story wise and character wise, like Ratchet was no slouch in that regard.
Right.
Yeah, and there's another one in Up Your Arsenal as well, and obviously just the naming conventions as well is another thing. But with Rift Apart, they managed to keep that intact because Rift Apart is also like an innuendo, which I'm glad they've been able to keep. But there's also a joke in Up Your Arsenal where there's sort of like this like superhero team called the Q Force, and like one of the members is a monkey, and Quark is like talking to the monkey, and like before Ratchet and Clank are just entering the room, but Quark doesn't notice them, and he's talking to the monkey, and he's like, all you hear of the conversation is like, it was mating season. How was I supposed to know it was your sister? And so he's and the monkey is just like screaming at him, and Ratchet and Clank enter the room just as he says that, and then Quark looks over, he's like awkwardly laughing, and he's like, how much did you hear of that? And or no, he's like, how long have you guys been standing there? And Ratchet just has like this disgusted look on his face, and Clank's like, we've been here too long. We've been here for too long, man. It's just like,
And
yeah, just stuff like that, man. Just made those games like
bro,
an absolute gold mine, and I don't know.
people's daughters and sisters are not safe in that game. Then, golly, if it was
Yeah,
the
man.
president's daughter.
It's great stuff, man.
Man,
But
Rivet is not safe from the
Rivet's
yeah,
in
man.
danger.
34 community.
Oh man,
No.
yeah, dude. But yeah,
I understand
man.
what you're saying though. So like, it's an interesting point that you have on there because I'd never delved too deep into the Ratchet Clank games. Really, I was more of a Sly Cooper kind of guy, and just
Yeah.
really grew up with like the Kingdom Hearts stuff. But I do wish that I would not wish, but I hope that they have that in Rift Apart because I could really go for that cheeky comedy again from Ratchet and Clank that would kind of just like push the limits, but not be too obscene.
Yeah, it's not Conker's Third Day for
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
not
definitely.
that level of absurdness. But
Yeah,
again, there is a fine line, and I do think it's achievable where you can make a game that has the kind of humor that is both
Yeah, I hope so. I
very adult and
yeah, I hope so, man. Yeah, and yeah, I mean, I really hope so, man, because that's a part of the identity of those games, and it was sorely lacking in 2016. And there's this really good video on YouTube. I think the channel is the Gaming Brit or something along those lines. I'll send it to you guys, but it's basically the title of the video is essentially Ratchet and Clank 2016, how it lost its edge or something along those lines, like the 2002 versus 2016, how it lost its edge. And yeah, that video goes into like depth of like, yeah, this game, the 2016 reimagining compared to the original game, and how it lost its identity, what made it so special. And yeah, it's just something that kind of has me bummed. But I'm aside from that, the game looks absolutely incredible. Insomniac, like Macho, like how good has Insomniac been like since the PS5 has come out, man?
Man, they got ray traced eyes.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
got ray traced eyeballs in Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart.
Yep.
Like it's kind of insane. Like we were talking before about the cliche about Pixar, like it's a Pixar esque like movie, the way it looks, but like that there's a certain merit to that kind of title.
Yeah, definitely.
Because Pixar does they've been geniuses in this kind of quality in 3D animation since the mid 90s, and they pioneered that.
Yeah.
So the fact that Insomniac is making that kind of quality but playable is insane.
Yeah.
And they're just gonna knock it out of the park. You know what they are when it comes to just how this game looks. And I've yet to see it on a 4K screen that 15-minute gameplay.
Yeah.
But that's on my list for today to see that video in 4K and how
Definitely.
it runs.
And then that on top of obviously Miles Morales that they were there with for the launch, and then Spider-Man
Yes,
Remastered,
sir.
and then you touched on the 60 FPS for Ratchet. Like they it's crazy, man. I don't know how they do it, man. But they're definitely up there in like the sort of like upper echelon of like the Sony pantheon of studios. Rightfully so, man.
Absolutely. I really don't doubt this game is going to be in the high, like at least as far as scoring wise, is when it comes to critic reception, I have no doubt that it's going to be low 90s
Yeah,
as far as the meta score.
yeah, it's gonna be good, man, and it's shaping up. Go ahead.
In a world where you get so many, gritty, dark, rough, not rough and bad, but rough as in, that they're tough. They're tough games, and very, very much so. Your Returnal, your Dark Souls, your Last of Us. This is a game that gives a breath of fresh air in terms
Yeah,
of its style and its
definitely.
approach and its type of game.
Yeah, it's a palate cleanser, a much needed, and
For sure.
it adds variety to the library, which I already think like just touching on Sony XDev for instance, the work that they've done in just the period of the launch and sort of like attributing to that variety, right? We have Demon Souls from them, we have Sackboy from them, and now Returnal from them. So like all three of the XDev titles of Sony XDev titles are out, but like that alongside Ratchet and Clank and Spider-Man obviously just adds to this variety in the PS5 library so far that like yeah, there's a it feels like there's something for everyone right now.
Yeah, exactly. And to add to that too, in terms of like the quality with like Insomniac and the kind of like the variety they're providing in Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, they're adding a lot to this game that's gonna make it a packed game. Where
Yeah.
like they have like the photo mode, they have mini games, they have Clank side missions and puzzles on top of two extra playable, or at least Rivet and Ratchet as playable
Yeah.
characters, upgrading the weapons, stuff like that. So, um, as far as like is it worth $70? I think they're doing a really really good job of justifying their current price for these games.
Yeah, definitely. Um yeah.
Excellent.
Um I also feel like that was never like people like whether it was justified or not, like people had that question with Returnal, but I feel like Ratchet and Clank is sort of like it's a big enough franchise where people were like, yeah, I love Ratchet and Clank, like yeah, I'm okay with that, like I'll do that. Would you agree with that? Like
Yeah.
people were more willing to spend the full price on Ratchet rather than Returnal.
Yes, yeah. Well, I don't know. For me personally, when it comes to whether I want to play a game, it for me is not really a whether or at least a question of price. Because if I
Yeah,
want to play it, I'll buy it. I
yeah,
don't
definitely.
care. It's just more if it's worth my time.
Yeah,
That's the main question that I have for most of the time. But yeah, for something like Ratchet and Clank, I feel like I don't know because some people will really look at it and be like, "No, that's a $40 game," because like it's a cartoon and like I don't know. It's a whole mess of a conversation when you try to
yeah.
ask people whether they think it's something's worth the price. I saw someone say that the Returnal should only be a $30 game. I'm looking. I'm like,
What
do you
the
see
hell?
what? Yeah, I'm like, do you see like what's being offered? Like,
No,
Like I don't know.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. That's crazy.
Go play Sword Art Online if you're listening. Go play Fatal Bullet or something. Golly, it's $6 on the PSN store. Golly,
Let's wrap this up with talking about Sony had their sort of financial results for fiscal year for their most recent fiscal year. Sony is absolutely altogether really like Sony Music is killing it, man. In terms of just like what they're doing with Aniplex and their mobile games as well, like they are absolutely killing it. It definitely makes sense why Sony wants to kind of like double down on that with their own franchises and be like, yeah, let's see if we can sort of convert these into some sort of mobile experience that catches on with the wider markets. So that definitely makes sense. Just based off of the success that Sony Music is having with mobile games. Yeah, that definitely makes sense. But yeah, they're doing great, and then of course PlayStation is killing it. It was just announced that the PS5 has sold 7.8 million units, and it is outpacing the PS4 by 200,000 units in the same time frame, which is pretty remarkable when you take it within the context of, constraints with the semiconductors and whatnot, manufacturing being slowed down due to the pandemic. You would think
That's
that
a lot of units.
Yeah, you would think that with a lot of people not being able to get their hands on a new console, well, that it wouldn't be able to outpace the PS4, but it's still somehow still doing it. So what do you guys think about this?
A good portion of that is scalpers.
Man, I absolutely hate that, dude. Like
7.5.
when they when
you go to
when this was
StockX, if you go to StockX and you go to PS5, because obviously I'm looking everywhere for one, and you go and see View All Asks, there's like some of them that have 20 to 30 PS5s to sell, and they're like $1,000 each. So yeah, good for them. They sold units. I don't have mine yet.
What so bad?
Jesus, man, I've never heard of this mad, man.
Oh my god!
Because it is ridiculous. It's absurd. There's people selling Xboxes $25,000. What is that? What is this?
And people keep buying them.
Scum.
People keep buying them. Don't buy them.
It's
simple.
This is as easy as taking advantage of those with desperation. I have desperation, but I'm not weak in that way.
No, I'm not. It's a simple solution. Don't buy them, you bastards. Just stop.
Yeah,
don't do it.
They keep giving this false sense of, oh, if we can keep selling them. They're gonna keep. Yeah. People are desperate. You're taking advantage, but then they don't realize that. Oh, why? Oh, these scalpers are crazy. Let me buy one just in case. No, don't do that. Don't do that.
Macho, you go ahead. What were you saying?
No, it's I
God.
No, it's I hate that point too. It's just like it's mostly scalpers that are buying them.
Yeah, it's so dumb.
Like it's.
There's such a large portion of that. God.
I don't know, man. I don't have the
so.
number sheets in front of me. Yeah, I don't have the number sheets in front of me, and I don't know, man. I see people walking out with PS5s.
No,
walking
I
out
don't
of
mean
Target
that the majority
PS5.
is. I mean that out of those 7.5, they're not all pure purchases. That's the reality of it.
They never are. They never are, though.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Now it's more noticeable because of pandemic and so many people online, and the only way that they can purchase certain items. Again, you've seen people walk out of Target with PS5s, but the same applies to people online that they can't find them. They'll resort to more unfortunate means of buying these consoles elsewhere. Again, that doesn't represent the majority, but it's still infuriating how these people exist. If you are a scalper, I don't think you deserve oxygen or nitrogen or hydrogen. You don't deserve this.
Oh, man.
No.
Hey, what's going on, Nick?
Why are...
Oh man.
Crazy,
Okay.
man. But
Well,
Macho, get us back. Yeah, get us back on
back
track,
to
man.
back to the point. It's 7.8 million units. That's what's. I'm sorry, Will. No, okay. All right, I'm
No,
good.
but
I'm good.
huge congrats to them. Huge congrats to them.
No, yeah, it's again they're keeping that momentum going, which is kind of insane. Because I'm a big believer in that. When a new generation starts, that's like your reset moment. That's your kickoff. That's your chance to catch the ball and get the touchdown as soon as you have it.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't matter if you're the Patriots, it doesn't matter if you're like the latest Super Bowl champion. It doesn't matter. When you start a new generation, you're essentially starting over. But this is literally kicking my point to the to the ground because that same momentum is carrying over, and it's pulling in strides for them. I think having Spider-Man as a launch title is definitely huge, and the amount of variety and just like the name alone is obviously having a big impact. But the stuff that's coming out this year, it's like really, really hype. Returnal's doing a lot better than what some people expected, and Ratchet and Clank is just going to be huge. And if they nail Horizon this year, then 2021 is a really good. Actually, from 2020 to 2021 November will be an amazing first year
Yeah,
for
their first
PlayStation
year.
5.
Their first year is incredible, man. And then
Yeah,
you take all their first party projects alongside, titles like Kena and Deathloop. Like it's a fantastic year.
yeah, yeah. On top of like all the stuff that they are announcing, like I can get some people's frustration with saying like, oh, it's just they're announcing a partnership, but like that's something to look forward to, especially when it's coming from industry leading names, right? With
Yeah,
Firewalk Studios and all that.
yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
but it's a huge win. I mean, and considering, you have Ratchet Clank coming out, you had just had Returnal. You have these massive games now coming out that they had this reputation before they were even, released, or that Ratchet Clank has without even being released. And matter of fact is, tangents aside, whenever you do have PS5s available, restocked, whether that be Walmart, Target, GameStop, they're fresh out of the oven and they're bought quickly because people do want this console. I mean, they're not all, turds. But you do have people that genuinely they want this console and they want to take advantage of this high end next generation piece of hardware. And I mean, I'm glad. I'm honestly a lot of my friends, they have PS5s, and so far their experiences they've been phenomenal. They love the system. They game more on the PS5 than they do on PC sometimes, which is crazy. That just goes to
Yeah, I
show
find
that,
myself doing that more actually.
yeah, that just goes to show that you have the power of a pretty decent PC, and you have the comfort of your sofa, your controller, you're chilling. It's great. It's great. This is congrats to Sony for that. They don't need us to remind them that they need to sell units because they're a company. They know what they're doing. They're doing well. I can't wait to see what's in store. PS5 Pro. I don't know if they have other versions, other editions. Face. You can change the plate maybe in the future. I don't know. I'm happy for that.
So some other stats that I wanted to tell you guys or show you guys was that so in 2020 they had they like Sony they sold 50 it was like 58.4 million copies of first party titles alone in 2020,
Wow.
and that accounted for 17% of all sort of all sales from last year, which so it's, yeah, 17% of every game sold on PS4 last year was a first party, or PS4. I guess this would stretch on PS5 as well, but every title sold on their platform, 17% of that was a first party game. So this included Last of Us Part 2, Ghost of Tsushima, Dreams, I guess Predator Hunting Grounds. I guess you toss in there.
Yeah, I
Spider-Man
mean,
Miles.
you got the
You remember that? Spider-Man
yeah,
Miles Morales. I guess MLB
the
or probably.
remaster, the,
Oh yeah,
the Spider-Man remaster, yeah.
yeah, and then Demon Soul, Sackboy, all those titles, man. Um,
Demon.
which is pretty crazy, and I guess that goes to show, man, that people are showing up for their first party titles.
Nah, man. Last of Us 2 only sold 4 million, 5 million on a 120 million console?
I
No,
know,
of
right?
course not.
Like,
Of course not.
Only,
Of course not.
only.
Yeah, no, of course
God,
not. It's not how it works.
that's such a weird, like, like I'm getting on another tangent, but that's such a weird argument to me because like, okay, by that logic, Call of Duty comes out on everything but only sells like what 20 million copies. Well, then it should be selling like 50 million copies by that logic, right? Like,
Should be the highest selling game ever
yeah,
every year.
I don't know, man. Like,
Yeah, no, it honestly infuriates me because like it just devalues how well these games are doing that, we haven't seen this before because gaming is super popular now. So the fact that like something like Demon Souls can sell like over 1 million copies, or something like Spider-Man still has like it's still selling super well, even like what 6-7 months from when it released.
yeah.
Yeah.
I like to me, I just really don't like that argument when people say, like, obviously I joke around with it because like it's such like a dumb point to me because again it devalues how well these games are doing, and it's for me it's just like that's like a super impressive number that many exclusives were tied to the people that bought consoles.
Yeah. PlayStation has the exclusives, and they sell well.
Definitely.
Yeah, exclusives matter.
Yeah, they matter. Don't let people try to convince you otherwise that they don't matter.
Yeah.
Hey, Masha, you saw it.
Good and well, but
Did you
games?
Did you see BG's tweet about Xbox brainwashing people into thinking that Game Pass? That had me dying, dude.
That man, the bet with him and Kid Smooth was one of the funniest things in the world.
Yeah.
How Kid Smooth was like, Returnal is garbage. In '86 backwards is '68.
So by his logic, State of Decay and Sea of Thieves are 96s.
Oh God! Oh jeez!
That had me cry when I read that. I was like, oh my gosh. But yeah, no, that was because there's also like that whole narrative about like these are Game Pass fodder games. Like what it is, man. But
yeah, we won't get.
It's kind of yeah. Don't devalue what's on Game Pass either because there's some standout stuff on there.
Yeah. I just thought.
But
it was funny.
Oh yeah, no, it's like it's kind of like they're like training them to like.
We're gonna end the podcast there, man. Thank you guys for watching, taking the time out of your busy schedule to join us for our 10th episode of the DualShock and Sense podcast. Go ahead and throw us a like, maybe consider subscribing. We would greatly appreciate that. We're gonna get to these outros. So for me, going to hopefully knock out Dark Souls 3 within the coming days, and then hopefully sink my teeth into Returnal. Very excited for that. And yeah, that's pretty much it for me. Macho, what about you? What do you got going on this week? You're coming home pretty soon, right?
Yeah, coming home during the weekend. But yeah, it's I'm not really going to be working on a lot of LogNet stuff because I'm really just going to be geared towards focusing on beating Gravity Rush 2, maybe get farther than Ni no Kuni, permitting, family stuff like that because we're actually celebrating, what was it? Easter, I think, for my sister's holiday because they're Coptic Orthodox, so they have different dates for these different holidays.
Okay.
And also my mom's birthday, so we're gonna be celebrating that. So we'll see how far we get into like some of these games. But yeah, I'm just gonna prep my mind for some Resident Evil Village. I'm excited for that next week. And yeah, check out lordsofgaming.net where we're actually kicking off a new segment called the Lord's Minute, where we have these like quick hit breakdowns of certain stuff that happens in gaming or entertainment in general, and myself or whoever's a writer on the Lords of Gaming.net team sits down with the Iron Lords podcast member, and we just break down the news. So go check that out. Check out Soul's piece as well. He actually put up a Returnal. Gets the seal back.
Oh my god, man!
He put up an article on Returnal, so go check that out.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. I'm gonna have to put that seal down so we don't get another appearance from him in the future. Walt, what's going on with you, man?
Well, man. This weekend will be mostly me just preparing for my final this semester. I'm almost done with the semester of school, so I'll be doing that. And on the side, I'll be tackling Resident Evil Revelations probably. One of the few that I haven't played. And in my more chill downtime for more casual gaming, I'm gonna start Subnautica and see how that plays out on my PC. But other than that, just packing stuff up because in about a month or two I'll be moving. Yeah.
Nice, man. And still in PR or where?
Yeah, still in PR. I'm in PR right now, but I'll be going to the States. Yeah, I'll be
Oh, cool, cool.
making my way there. Hopefully for better things and see where life leads me. And I'll have access to Target because there's no Target here, and I'll be able to get a PS5 maybe.
Maybe,
Yeah,
man.
maybe.
That's dope, dude. So yeah, that's gonna do it for us, man. Again, thanks for watching, and we will catch you guys next week. Peace.